Mark, thanks for having me in your old office. You've never been in this office.
I've never been in the studio. So when
studio.
I was at Cypress North and co-hosting Marketing O'Clock, I had the pleasures of the first floor studio where we had to stop for the bus and all sorts of traffic. And then in our old office when we had the train every couple of minutes. So
I didn't
never
realize
got to
that.
be in a soundproof studio like this
I
with
do hear some
amazing
water.
lighting.
I hear some water rushing through. Can we get a mic up there?
Yes, you got to hear the underground river.
Yeah, cool. And you've been in the marketing space for how long?
About 5.5 years.
Okay.
I would say I've been doing digital marketing.
And you are no longer at Cypress North because of some legal issue? No, I'm joking. I don't
Yes.
know.
No, like Greg is just like really scary, and I was terrified of working for him every day.
I don't blame
Like
you.
really throws down the hammer. My charts were not good enough for him. Yeah, no. Basically, I love Cypress North, and it was an amazing place to work, but I really wanted to go back in-house and work at a early stage software startup that I could really dig in and be a part of that growth. That's kind of what I wanted to do with my career. The agency life just wasn't for me anymore, especially a lot of the clients that we attract in the B2B SaaS space were a little bit earlier stage than I would have liked. Usually B2Bs, like SaaS startups that come to agencies are generally either Series A or pre-funding. And their product like isn't really there yet where it's very easy to sell and market. So I wanted to go to a little bit later stage startups. So my current company Order, we just announced our Series B in January, and the product is finally like in a really good place where it's something that we can sell and market.
Right. That's interesting you say that. You didn't start at Cypress North.
No. So my kind of first job in digital marketing was at Toast. So I came on around Toast Series D to take over their paid social lead generation. So being a technology for restaurants, Facebook was a really important marketing channel for them because you think a lot of restaurant owners are already in there marketing their business on Facebook. They really are living there. So I was kind of brought on to help scale paid social as a lead generation channel and also help out with marketing automation and reporting across the demand generation team.
Okay. And so how do you end up at Cypress from there? I know you went to other companies.
So yeah, it was really interesting. So after Toast, I worked at a sales and marketing agency in Boston and did that for about a year and a half doing digital marketing there. And I decided that I wanted to move back home to Buffalo, New York from Boston. And I was literally like, I never want to work at another agency again. This is not for me. And then I met Greg and the rest of the team, and I was like, this is an amazing company that I'd love to work for. And they really are different than a lot of other agencies I've worked at or worked with in the past, in that they really do care about their clients a lot and care about their employees in a way that they are selecting clients that they think that their employees will really want to work with and be successful with. And I was really sold on this pitch of kind of digital marketing and performance marketing excellence and holding ourselves accountable to metrics and doing the best by clients. I was just really won over by that. And it's why I stayed at Cypress North for so long.
And then it's interesting you mentioned the whole like SaaS startup B2B. I don't know if it's like necessarily like the issue is specifically with B2B at that stage. It might be.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, like new startups, their products are just any platform they build. If it's brand new, it's limited. So you send traffic to the platform. Maybe they don't convert because the platform stinks.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the issue, or?
Yeah, there's a couple issues. I think kind of things that I see, either the product's best use case hasn't been figured out yet. They haven't figured out like who the core persona and industries the product works best for are. Also, until you get a lot of people using the product, you don't know all the problems that there are with it. So there are things that you find as you're going along. And unfortunately, is a lot of the case sometimes is that CEOs, founders can be very opinionated about kind of how they want to market their product and might not be open to testing or using their resources in what we think is the smartest way possible. So it can be a little bit of a fight to get what we think is best for marketing the product.
Okay. So then one of these, startup founders went ahead and you're having a conversation with them and you just had enough and you just threw your computer against the wall and you said, Greg, I'm done.
We actually kind of almost not quite like that, but we had a software client here. We had more return on their Google ads in 1 month than they had in 2 years of doing paid search. We completely set up a new demand generation funnel for them. We were absolutely killing it. Our ROI on the program was like 12x. And that normally takes years to get even to like a 10x point. Right. So for us to do that in a few months was amazing. And the CEO kind of went a little bit crazy and just fired his entire marketing team for no real reason. And that eventually included us. So no matter like how well we were doing and how much we really were driving new business for the startup, the CEO had this idea where he wanted to go less the digital marketing route and more of like being really creative and coming up with these very like provocative campaigns that weren't necessarily like where we were seeing performance.
That makes sense. I mean, who knows what the rationale was around that CEO doing that?
Yeah.
It might have been their private equity or whoever was like funneling them their money, where it was like, we don't have money. It could be 1,000 things. And that's the scary part with working with SaaS companies is you could be doing a great job and tomorrow it could be like, the CEO has no more funding and they just pull the rug from you.
Yeah, I mean, things change so quickly. And like being back in-house now, I even see that a lot where I started in November. I kind of built everything from scratch and we've had to pivot what we're doing 3 or 4 times since then, like how much we're spending based on the return we're seeing from the sales side. So it's kind of, you have to be prepared to pivot and kind of, it's very difficult to like change everything that you've done when you've spent so much time building it. But it's kind of like that tough pill to swallow. You have to kind of just like take a deep breath and remember we're still kind of in testing mode, figuring out how to sell this product. And it can be very exciting, but also extremely frustrating.
Right. And then they could change the product because they have to pivot the product itself also. And that changes the whole marketing strategy sometimes as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the startup world. I mean, I've built we work with multiple startup companies. We've built our own startup businesses. And it is just the world of pivot. I tell my customers that come to me, like, you are giving me a spec that you want X, Y, and Z built, but that's going to be completely turned upside down after we build it because you're going to have customers use it or you're going to use it and you'll be like, well, I don't think this is going to work this way. We should change it.
Yeah. And I think also it's really important as you kind of learn these things to push back and ask those questions up front. Like if a head of your department comes to you and is like, I think we need to be generating this many leads each month, you need to think about kind of what we need to spend to get there and if it'll be worth it and ask those types of questions. And in a startup, be like ready to challenge and think critically because you're going to be held accountable for that performance, like regardless of what directives you were given.
Right. Totally. All right, cool. So let's talk about some of the topics you want. You're obviously specialized in B2B.
Yes.
So I think one of the things you talked about was like how you love like building these funnels and tracking every element in there. Can you talk a little bit about that?